Hey folks, today we're going to do a little bit of watercolor and stamping on mat board. So go ahead and grab your IOD Apothecary Labels and pick out whichever one of these little book plates you want to use. I'll be using a little bit of IOD's ink in turmeric as well as black. It's an 8:1 ratio and I load my pad so it gives me the perfect sepia color combination. Go ahead and stamp your little book plate design, and then on a piece of scratch paper, stamp it again and go ahead and cut it out. Once you're done cutting that out, you can set it aside and grab your Veranda stamp. This is the new stamp by IOD for Q1 of 2024, and we're going to be using the lattice design. So go ahead and ink it up and stamp the entire mat board so that your frame is covered in this design. The other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you mask out that little book plate. So I use a little bit of tape on the back to secure it. That way when I do stamp it, it's perfectly masked out. From here, we're going to grab our watercolors, and as long as your mat board is truly matte, the watercolor should work quite effectively. I'm applying a wet into wet technique, so I've got a tan color and a darker brown color. The specifics are the lighter color is Goethite, genuine. It's a Daniel Smith color, and it's a granulating color, which is really cool because it gives you all that texture, which in essence looks like fabric, and I totally dig that. So while that tan color is still wet, I take a little bit of my burnt umber and drop the wet into wet color to create that kind of cool aged effect in there. I'm not painting the lattice. I like the contrast between the brown and the kind of darker white and brown lattice work. So just finish your entire mat, carefully painting around your book plate. I'm going to grab my Kuretake Mica ink. This is a seriously cool ink that I typically use with a fountain pen, but I'm just using a small 18/0 brush to kind of gently go in and add gold to the book plate, going around the words and the design very carefully. Cut a piece of watercolor paper and grab your pencil and lightly line out the matte window of your frame. This way, when you stamp, you know exactly what area that you'll be able to stamp in. So I'm stamping the cutest little bird. This is from the Pistache line. Again, another Q1 release for 2024. And it comes with cloches and bird cages and just all sorts of delightful imagery. I'm also using their beautiful new masks that have the designs printed on the green mask color, which is super handy. You can see and find all your masks really well. Go ahead, and I accidentally didn't ink up that top part of the swing, so I'm stamping it again, no big deal. And from here, I'm grabbing kind of an amber colored ink. Again, it's another fountain ink. I'll link everything up for you in the actual description, but it's really close in color to my ink pad, so I can kind of go in and fix any of my little boo-boos where I missed. After it's totally dry, I'm going to watercolor in a little bit of a surface area. This color is called Moon Glow. It's another Daniel Smith color, and it's absolutely gorgeous for casting shadow and showing the depth and interest in paint. I'm also going to splat a little bit of Quin Deep Gold into this just to give myself a little bit of texture and interest in the foreground. From here, you can just go totally crazy. I'm using a combination of pretty blues and greens and yellows for the bird. Just have fun, play, go slow. You'll really enjoy this process. And painting wouldn't be painting with me unless there's a little bit of splatter. So of course I did a little bit of splatter with Quin Deep Gold, as well as some scumbling, which is just basically kind of kissing the edges of the wet paint with water so that you get that loose and sort of inked effect. After drying completely, I did take a fine tip fountain pen just to darken the eye just a little bit, as well as the little nostril hole, and it actually made everything pop just a bit more. Throw a little bit of painter's tape on the back of your watercolor paper and secure it to your mat board. And then we're going to go ahead and use the Apothecary Label set again. I'm using the word home just because it feels really perfect for this project. But again, that Apothecary Label set is awesome. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic time creating.